Yeah, man. Hey, quick question. So you're not in the force anymore, but I'm sure you still have buddies that are. My question is, you mentioned kind of three classes of officer: the good, the bad, and like the really good. So for the ones that are good, four classes.
The good,
sorry.
the bad, the very good, and the very bad.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So out of the ones that are still there intermingling, how do, from what you know from conversations you've had, how are they dealing with each other? Like if you're a good cop that was doing your job, I have a friend, and I haven't asked him this, I should actually, who's RCMP, and he's a really good cop and takes down child traffickers, drug busts, like does the work, never once issued a COVID fine, refused to, was put on administration for, refusing to do certain things and refusing to, get himself a snake bite. So a good cop and a good person and doing some good, but he's got to go to work with a bunch of shitheads every day that he goes into shift. So how have these people been dealing with it, and how have they been interacting with each other? Or do they just treat it like you would with any other coworker, or just go and do your job and then leave? Like how does that happen now?
Well, I'm just going to also say first, before I get into full depth there, that I'm sorry I spoke at a turn earlier when I said the very good all left, because that's not true. I was basically saying that those that are very good, that are the closest to me, left when I left. But I do know that, a lot have since reached out to me that are the very good, that are on the job, that I worked with, maybe wasn't super close with, but, we were close in the sense that we worked well together. And they've reached out to me to let me know, like, thanks for everything you've done. Thanks for fighting the way you fought. Just so they wanted to let me know, they're like, just so you know, we have been fighting since day one with you from the inside. We've been taking management to task. We have been waking up our fellow colleagues. Like, there are amazing people still on the job that believe first, that they believe that, putting their life on the line for the good up against the evils that exist on the street, that's what they show up to do every day. And they are honorable, heroic, amazing people. Now, there are the others that are not in that class, and they describe having butted their heads with them over the last 3 years and still to this day. But one of the coolest things that I keep getting kind of relayed back to me is that the numbers are dwindling. Like the ones that are like the COVIDiots and like wear 17 masks and like, yes, I'll do what you say, Heil, you mein Führer. Like the ones that don't think for themselves and they're just completely brain dead, and they're the ones that acted the way that we saw in those videos. They're either becoming increasingly quiet because they know that, holy crap, it's coming back on me now, or they're starting to apologize inside and being like, oh, I shouldn't have done what I did. I shouldn't have said what I said. I shouldn't have acted the way that I acted. I should have known better. And now the tides are turning on the inside in a lot of respects, being that the other side, the good side, is saying, yeah, you're right. Like, you're right. You were absolutely wrong. And it's probably gonna burn you. So, but that's history, right? Is that not history? Is that not the way that it always goes? It always seems to be that like evil gets its way for a day, and then the good comes out to play. And then it's like everything gets exposed, and then all you see is evil turncoating and running, because now they know it's catching up to them. It always seems to happen that way. Like even on the grander scales of world wars, they make that uncalculated error, like the Nazis trying to take over Stalingrad in the middle of winter, thinking that they're going to overtake the Russians in -50 against people that live in that every day. And they were under-equipped. Well, they got arrogant, they got stupid. What ended up happening, right? Like, look through history. Arrogance always, and pride is always before the fall. And this is what we're seeing now. They got prideful and arrogant. They pushed the envelope. They kept pushing the envelope. They did some horrific crap. They hurt a lot of people. Payday's coming.
Well, we're talking about good cops and bad cops. One of the debates back, we're talking like a year or so ago, even 2 years ago almost now, when we were having a conservative leadership race in the province. One of the big platform issues was an Alberta police force versus the RCMP. Should we keep the RCMP? Should we ditch them? We've had things here like the High River gun grab, where there was flooding in High River and the RCMP went in and basically cleaned up people's homes of all their guns. We had Coots, obviously, which is still kind of ongoing, the aftermath of that, and the tomfoolery, we'll call it, that went down there with some of the evidence that may or may not be actual evidence. This is also before the courts. We still have two prisoners in jail, or in remand rather, from that. Two have now been since released. on plea deals. And so there's like a real contingent that wants the RCMP out of Alberta, and there's another contingent that wants to keep them in Alberta for various reasons. What I'd like to share is something that just came out, I think, this week. Let me go. Here it is. Boom. Let's read this. Alberta RCMP officer arrested, charged over allegedly aiding foreign actor. I thought that the RCMP was beholden to Trudeau. Well, it seems that they might be beholden. Well, maybe Trudeau's beholden to other people. Let's see here. What does it say? And this, guys, is from Global News. So this isn't some alternative news source, which we, of course, love the alternative news sources.
And what's the date on that?
This is February 13th, 2 days ago.
2 days ago. Okay, keep going.
2 days ago. An Alberta frontline RCMP officer has been arrested and charged in what the police force calls a national security investigation involving allegations of aiding a foreign actor. In a statement Tuesday, the force alleged the individual accessed non-top secret RCMP records in order to assist a foreign actor. And I don't think they're talking about like Simu Liu and Shang-Chi here in the Legend of the Five Rings foreign actor. I think they're talking about, some nefarious actor. The RCMP said on learning of the breach, it implemented measures to monitor, mitigate, and manage any further unauthorized disclosures and ensure the maintenance of public safety as its investigation unfolded. Constable Eli Ntaduje, obviously, I'm not pronouncing that right, Ntaduje of the Alberta RCMP, and correct me if I'm wrong, people out there, I think may have been a Calgary officer. Did I already cover this? Alberta RCMP, anyways, he's been charged with breach of trust, unauthorized use of a computer, and breach of trust with respect to safeguarded information. So the suspect is expected to make a court appearance in the Alberta Court of Justice in Red Deer, Alberta on March 11th, so next month. And RCMP said the criminal investigation is ongoing. The RCMP is committed to combating foreign actor interference at all levels and is actively leveraging all tools at its disposal. All tools, okay. Foreign interference takes on many forms, and it's critical that all organizations are aware of the potential harm at any levels. The RCMP will pursue any form of interference, whether internal or external, and this is a good example of the efforts being made. Mounties have not provided details on the duties of the suspect or the type of information accessed. Court records say the guy is accused of communicating or agreeing to communicate safeguarded information on the Canadian Police Information System to a foreign entity, the Republic of Rwanda. There it is. Okay, so it's Rwandan foreign actors. The system provides information about crimes and criminals. Records allege that as a police officer, he committed a fraud or breach of trust in connections with the duty of his office. There have been other recent high-profile cases involving information breaches. That's fun. William Majker, a resident of Hong Kong, is accused of using his knowledge and his extensive network of contacts in Canada to obtain intelligence or services to benefit the People's Republic of China, etc., etc., etc. Last week, a former RCMP intelligence officer, Jay Ortiz, who led an RCMP group that assembled classified information on cyber criminals, terror cells, and transnational criminal networks, was sentenced to 14 years of prison. Okay, so right now we have multiple police officers in the RCMP that are sharing information with Rwanda, China, foreign actors, giving them information on criminals in Canada, on police communications. What do you make of this, and what do you think of the RCMP, if I can ask?
Let's go right back to what you first said about the Alberta thing and RCMP, getting out of Alberta. I think the RCMP needs to get out of Canada. They've proven themselves to be derelict. They've proven themselves to be unfit for duty. 90% of all negative case law involving the police comes out of the RCMP. Now, there are some fine RCMP officers, and I think those ones that have proven themselves exemplary should probably be a part of formulating new municipal or provincial police services, but the RCMP, let's look at what's important now. What's important now? Win. In policing, we use that moniker all the time. Win. What's important now? Win. What's important now? Well, what's important now is we have a government in place that has been involved in no less than 43 criminal corruption scandals. And the RCMP's mandate is to investigate political corruption. That's not up to the provincial polices. That's not police services. That's not up to the municipal police services. It is the mandate to investigate federal political corruption. And TJ, do you mind if I read you something here? Is that okay?
Give her, yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to read you right off the RCMP's website as it pertains to corruption. I did a video post on this today on Twitter, but I want this to go viral because Canada, demand better or it's not going to get better, okay? This is from their website. According to Canadian legislation, corruption is when a person in public office receives an undue reward to influence their behavior in office, contrary to the rules of honesty and integrity. In Canada, both domestic and foreign corruption are criminal offenses. Criminal or corrupt practices include embezzlement of funds, theft of corporate or public property, influence peddling, bribery, extortion, etc. Examples of corruption. Bribery comes in different forms and can involve sophisticated schemes. Examples include, I'm just going to get right into it with some examples. Hiring a public official's unqualified relative to get a contract. I don't know, maybe the We sponsorship scandal or the We scandal, where they were hiring Trudeau's family to speak and getting, in a sense, pay for play and contracts from the federal government. Another one is Katie Telford's husband's firm getting hired for an $85 million contract, who is involved in the Liberal Party's government. Okay, there's number one. Number two, paying a public official not to do their job. We see evidence of that. Look at the last 43 scandals. Paying a public official not to do their job. Look at Brenda Lucki, okay? The most inept police officer Canada has ever seen, interfering in the Nova Scotia shooting scandal to benefit this government, okay? How many different investigations have the RCMP willfully and wantonly ignored doing because it would harm Sock Boy? Giving a public official extravagant gifts. I don't know, Aga Khan Island, the most recent trip to Jamaica. Making a large charitable donation linked to a public official. How about this? How about judges getting appointed to the bench by this federal government on the condition that they would go to Liberal Party fundraisers and make a donation? It's called pay for play. It's illegal. RCMP, if you're looking for a little bit of consultation, I'd be happy to consult with you on how to launch an actual criminal investigation so you could do your freaking jobs. Paying for the education of children for a public official, nothing's been brought up about education pertaining to this prime minister, other than maybe a non-disclosure agreement involving a student at some point in time while he was a teacher, but nothing since he's been a PM, so I guess that doesn't apply here. Diverting contracts, real or not, to an entity owned or linked to a public official, beneficial ownership, using agents or third parties to funnel bribes to public official. I mean, 43 plus scandals, and how many can we say out of the 43 plus apply to that right there? And how many times has the RCMP gotten engaged in doing an investigation, which is within their mandate, to make sure that the institution of Canadian politics is upheld to not be corrupted, because the RCMP is supposed to be that stopgap to maintain public trust in politics and the police, and they're not doing their job, and it would appear that they're willfully kowtowing to the corrupt politicians rather than doing their job of holding their feet to the fire to maintain credibility. We have a problem here, Canada. And the problem is the RCMP not doing the job. And the problem is it being allowed to continue because the people aren't getting allowed. And they're not demanding that this change is effective immediately. And that this change is effective immediately.